It's my pleasure to welcome the president of our congregation and a new grandmother, Judith Frumkin, to speak to us this evening.
Good Yontiv. It was a beautiful sunset as I drove in this evening, preparing us for our new year. And a happy, healthy new year to all of you and to all of your families. As we begin this next 10 days of reflection and prayer, I want us first to give some thanks to those who have made it possible, actually, for us to be in this holy space in our sanctuary. So a long list of thank yous, and I'll make it as brief as I can, but I don't want to miss out, and I probably will, a few people. But our thank yous go to Jonathan and to Chet and Jeff for ensuring that all of us are ready for our prayer services and all of this is ready. And a note of appreciation to Judith Stander for making sure that she ushered us in so well. She's in charge of the ushers, and she made sure that we were all checked in. She devotes an enormous amount of time to our synagogue. I also want to say thank you to those who were diligent in making sure that the repairs to our building were done in a timely and safe manner, making it possible for us actually to gather here tonight. And in addition to those amazing members of our facilities committee, one congregant of note, Ernie Wass, has spent his days in the basement making sure that the work being done was sufficiently completed within the parameters of our needs for this time. And as you know, Ernie, he will also be working for our food pantry these days, making sure that your contributions are put to good use. And there are other unsung heroes who contributed financially to make sure that this necessary work could be done in spite of a tenuous budget. Thank you. And of course, our celebration of the new year could not even begin without the commitment of our cantor and rabbi, and we are forever grateful for their leadership and devotion. Each year, the president of Temple Concord stands before you to deliver a high holiday speech. I'm sure you recall that last year I noted that every other synagogue president, no matter the denomination, is doing the same thing tonight or tomorrow or on Yom Kippur. For me, I think, what more can I say to you that I have not already said all year long? Well, it seems that timing is everything. I thought I knew what I was going to say tonight. I wanted to, and I will, talk with you about my vision for Temple Concord for the next 5 years. I may have discussed many topics, both up on this bima, at meetings, as well as in my column in the bulletin. But I don't think that I have told you what I am truly passionate about in regard to where I see Temple Concord in the future. But as I said, timing is everything. The other day, I was shopping at Wegmans and saw down the aisle an old good friend who I hadn't seen or talked to in a very long time. As I caught up with her and said hello, she looked at me and began to berate me for not contacting her before this serendipitous meeting in an aisle in Wegmans. You see, her former husband and father of her children had died suddenly last spring, and I had not contacted her other than a message back electronically when I found out. Or nor had I sent a card or a note to her boys, of whom I am very fond. In other words, I dropped more than the ball. I dropped the very essence of friendship. Worse than that, I hadn't even realized what I had done. And it wasn't intentional. It was just a horrible, horrible oversight. She wondered what had happened to me, why I was not there for her or her children after all these years of sharing and concern. I was mortified and mystified by my behavior. There, in an aisle in Wegmans on a Tuesday afternoon, I was remorseful, dreadfully upset. I apologized and asked forgiveness. Our prayers this holiday season include the demand that for our transgression against another human being, one does not atone unless we obtain that person's pardon. As I walked away from this difficult interaction, I had received her forgiveness for my terrible mistake, but I felt that I could not forgive myself and thought, is asking and receiving forgiveness really enough? How can I walk away from my transgression and with the idea that I actually have atoned enough? I did not feel better for receiving her forgiveness and her ongoing friendship. I felt awful that I actually did this thing to begin with. And I don't have an answer for this. I'm not sure that anyone does for me. As I said, timing is everything, at least for me. How appropriate that this incident occurred just a week before the holidays begin. I wondered, how could this frame my thinking? This is a time to be reflective and introspective, to account for our year, and to hope that we could move forward. Or should it be a time to be more expansive, more open to new possibilities? After all, it is the new year, a new beginning. And of course, being Jewish, there are always two sides to every story. As much as we often dwell on the past, even tormented by it, I truly want to speak about the future. And maybe this can be my way, as I wrote this and as I speak it now, that I can move on, move forward, and bring you along on a collective journey. I think I can say with certainty that all of you are aware of our financial difficulties. At those times when I think of the significant challenge we have in making ends meet, I'm scared and overwhelmed. That's one side. That's the negative. The flip side is our ever-growing, engaging, and dynamic congregation. More activities, more visitors, more programs for everyone than ever before. So this brings us to our conundrum and to one glimpse at the future of our beautiful and historic temple. In order to bring our expenses in line with our income, we have tried to and have had to, over the course of the last few years, make reductions in our staffing. As a result, we have asked our staff to do more, to take care of more of the building, the programs, the communication, the office work. And quite candidly, we haven't been able to do it all. The thing is, more people expect us to do more. There are complaints that not everything is getting done, mostly little things, we're not perfect, that some things are falling through the cracks. And we are trying our best to work harder with less people power. But wait a minute, we do have people power. And we have the power to change the conversation from complaints to action, to being part of the solution, not just pointing out the problems. In addition to giving more in dollars to sustain ourselves, our future must also include a shift to a culture of volunteerism. One of a collective mindset that says, I can help, I can do that, I want to do this. Truly, we have lost our notion of doing something because it is needed, because it is our passion, and because we want to see it done right. So imagine Temple Concord 5 years from now. We are financially stable, God willing, and we have a vibrant, robust congregation. People are here all the time. There's a buzz. We are a pillar of the Syracuse community for a variety of reasons. First of all, our food pantry is the epitome of a mitzvah. We are feeding people. We have an amazing team of people who volunteer their time to ensure that this community necessity works effectively. And when people come to get their food, they are greeted respectfully and with dignity. Second, our building, this beautiful home, is one that is accessible to all. A joyous sanctuary of spirituality, learning, and fun. where volunteers are responsible for staffing the kitchen, for doing the landscaping, and mailing out the notices so congregants are aware of all the activities, where the archives of our last 175 years is used by scholars and students to study the changing demographics of Syracuse and the dynamic history of the Jews in central New York, where volunteer docents share our story with visitors strolling down the connective corridor. Third, the halls, classrooms, and grounds of our temple are filled to the maximum with children of all ages, and they come because they want to be here, not because their parents told them to. And they are with their friends, feeling that what they do in this temple is relevant to their lives and gives them a sense of belonging. They grow to become our volunteers. They find the places where they are needed. And because we are a Reform Jewish congregation, we open our doors, our minds, and our hearts with an inclusive attitude. Taking from the Union for Reform Judaism tenets, being a Reform congregation enables us to champion innovation while preserving tradition, to embrace diversity while asserting commonality, to affirm our beliefs without rejecting those who doubt, and to bring faith to sacred texts. Because of this, our synagogue is known for its commitment to absolute equality of women in all areas of Jewish life, to our full commitment to the full participation of gays and lesbians in synagogue life, as well as our community at large, and for our embrace of interfaith families, and of our commitment to social action and justice in advocating for people, our environment, and other societal concerns. People will come here because of our beliefs, our openness, and our actions. Does this sound like the temple you want to call your own in 5 years? We can start on the road right now, but we have to start now. And what happens if we don't? It's really quite simple. We won't be able to reach our goals and our vision for the future. So you can put on your volunteer hat and let's get going. As we enter the 10 days of introspection concluding at Yom Kippur, I will find myself filled with remorse, asking for forgiveness for my transgressions of the past year. I will also be so very grateful for my beautiful family and wonderful friends. It does seem at odds that remorse and joy should be intertwined, but isn't it our Jewish culture, after all, to acknowledge the tough stuff, to laugh at ourselves, and celebrate whatever happiness we find? And so, as I stand here before you this evening, I too hope that you will reflect on the past year, but at the same time look ahead with boundless optimism at your own personal lives, as well as with an energy and can-do spirit to make Temple Concord the great place and community it can be for generations to come. As we mark the new year, I'm energized by our temple's future, by the opportunity for all of us to make a difference. And I will try to be a better friend. L'Shana Tova.